Everybody then. Let me, um, oops. Okay, well, with that, I will call the meeting to order and hello everyone this evening. It's been a few months since we have met and we all got through the holiday time and the storms, the whole bit. So let's see, is Debbie Little taking notes or who's taking notes?
So that'll be me this evening, as Debbie is under the weather. So I'll take roll tonight if that works.
Okay, yep, you betcha.
All right. So Commissioner Roller,
I'm here.
Commissioner Van Buren,
Here,
Commissioner Knopa,
here,
Commissioner Stone Road,
Here.
and then Commissioner Filatico.
Here.
Hey, Aaron.
oh, that's
All
the
right.
phone number.
Perfect.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, hello, Aaron.
5 out of 5 present.
Okay, we got everybody. So, all right. And did anybody sign up from business from the public? You didn't hear from anyone. Oh, all right. We can skip over that. And then we have approval of the minutes, and this was from November 1st. If there was not any changes that anybody saw that needed to be done, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes from November.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Same sign. Okay, not seeing anyone. We've got the minutes approved. And next is scheduled business. So our discussion item is going to be from the architects that are attending for Deerfield Park. So Kim, do you want to lead that off?
Sure, I'd love to. So as you all know, as you look at our CIP project list, whenever we meet, Deerfield Park playground replacement has been an item on there for years. And when we did the master plan, it was estimated just for the playground replacement to be about $400,000 to $450,000 due to our strong financial stewardship and us just generally being cheap, and a lot of the program changes that we've made. We were able to put a little bit of additional money aside for that in the hopes of that maybe we can do a little bit more than just a playground. It's a 11-acre park, and that it is ripe with opportunity. And so, and taking a look at the timeline, and taking a look at potential funding sources, we've moved things up and it's got a little bit of a brisk pace right at the beginning. So construction won't take place until next spring, next summer, so 2025. But in order for us to go through the design process, for us to apply for a grant through the Department of Parks and Recreation, State Department, their local government's grants, they have about $34 million available this year, and that is over twice what it has been in the past. That application is due on April 1st, and we feel like Deerfield is a really excellent project. So for us to get all of our ducks in a row to hopefully go out and get a couple $100,000 worth of extra money, we're really hitting it, and we're hitting it fast. So I want to turn it over to Kurt and Catherine. I do want to say that they are wonderful and that we've worked with them now on two other projects. They were the landscape architecture firm that did Meadow Ridge Park, which we'll talk to you a little bit more about, but it looks beautiful. And they also helped us out at Lehigh Park for the sensory playground. So we're just thrilled to work with them again. And Kurt and Catherine, I turn it over to you two.
Great, thank you. Kurt Langgood, I'll just say a couple words, then turn it over to Catherine. I want to say that we've been thrilled to work with Kim and Rick on the projects that she mentioned, and particularly Meadow Ridge Park. And if you haven't been out there and seen the play area and the climbing rocks and the nature play, it's quite incredible. We were actually down today in Albany, meeting at Deerfield Park, and then we stopped by Meadow Ridge, and I think it's just such a nice amenity for your community, and we're excited about Deerfield and the possibilities. And as Kim was mentioning, the first step is really in order to apply for these grants, additional funding sources, they really want to see a master plan. So that's what we're embarking on right now. And Kate's going to share some material with you and talk a little bit about more of just the existing site and really get your feedback. All with the idea of going out and meeting with neighbors and the public probably in early March. So with that, I'll just go ahead and turn it over to Kate, and just glad to be here.
Thanks, Kurt. Thanks, Kim. Nice to be here. I'll just jump right in and share my screen, and hopefully it goes to the right place. Not the Zoom thing. There we go. Can you see this map of the system map of the city? Good. Okay. So we just wanted to start here, you know, when we go to the public, to show where Deerfield Park is in relation to other parks in the city, and its status as a neighborhood park, despite the fact that it's 11 acres, which is a bit bigger than most neighborhood parks. And just to talk about, you know, as we move through this process, we understand that neighborhood parks typically have certain characteristics. You know, they're within half a mile of an easy walk, ideally. You know, they'll probably have a playground, might have some pathways, picnic areas, typically don't have parking lots, permanent restrooms, or destination amenities like sports field complexes and so forth. So this is an aerial view of Deerfield. As Kurt mentioned, we are out there today talking about some of the existing conditions out there, looking at how it's used. We saw a number of people with dogs on and off leash, a couple people playing basketball, nobody in the playground, but it was middle of the school day, so that's not that surprising. But looking at the park, you know, we also understand that there is a ADA, what do you want to call it? An ADA assessment of parks in the city that's underway right now, including Deerfield. And looking at ADA, there's a number of deficiencies in this park, in the pathway system, in accessibility to the picnic areas, the play area, obviously, but also ADA would require that there's an accessible route to any backstop of a ball field. So those are all considerations that we're looking at, you know, as we move into this meeting with the public and say, what do we want for this park? What does the public want? What does the city want? What does the Parks Commission want? So as I said, there's a number of known site issues. We do know that there is a 9-hole currently temporary disc golf course. Kim let us know that the disc golf people are really easy to work with and do a lot of, like they really step up to make disc golf courses that they use workable. So there's, you know, do we want to make that permanent? We also understand that there are parking concerns from the neighbors, especially along Del Rio, which was maybe more of a concern when there was still Little League being done at this site, which I guess is no longer the case. And then dogs, off-leash dogs are another potential concern since, you know, some people are nervous around dogs, but on the other hand, people like having big open spaces for the dogs to run. So So what do we do about dogs in the park? So there's a lot of things we could look at as we talk to the public, as we talk to you all about what we want to see in the park and what is workable in our budget. As Kim said, we are going to go for this statewide grant that's due April 1st. That will give us a little bit more room to work with, maybe $1.15 million or $1.25 million, somewhere in that range, which is not a lot for an 11-acre park. We can't do everything, but there's still a lot we can do with that amount of money. So, before we go any farther, though, and talk to you all about what you'd like to see, just wanted to run through the schedule as well. So, as Kim said, we're not going to start construction until next year. So we are in the programming design phase now. This we put together earlier this week. We understand that Kim may not be able to do the first public meeting, which is currently scheduled. We're currently looking at February 28th for the first public meeting, but we might actually move that back to March 6th, which we feel is still doable. It doesn't give us a lot of time in between the meetings, but I think there's still, we still feel there's enough time to come up with some really good design options before the first meeting, and then come up with a really good preferred design for the second public meeting, and then still have time to work with with parks to put together the materials for the grant submittal on April 1st. So really, we're trying to get to this April 1st mark and do all our public process before that. It's tight, but I think it's doable. And then, of course, after that, we'll do some tweaking, internal review, come back to you all beginning of May, and then present to the City Council May 8th. That is the plan. And after that, we'll go to construction documents. So I guess we'd like to hear from you all about what you would like to see in the park, what needs to change, if you have any concerns about the schedule. So yeah, I think let's just open it up.
Okay,
When
go ahead,
you-
Jill.
Oh, thank you. When you set these things up, do you include things like Nextdoor and the online sources to let people know what's going on and what's open to their public?
I can chime in on that one if that's all right. So we really want to make sure that we're hitting the folks in the neighborhood first and foremost, as this isn't necessarily a community. We're not going to be adding a parking lot. There's not going to be added, major amenities. And so as far as advertising on this one, we're going to do on social media, we're probably going to do a mailer or door hangers for folks who are in either a quarter mile or a half mile of the park. And then we're also going to put signs out at the park. So I won't lie, I'm a little bit hesitant to put it out on Nextdoor just because I know there is a broad community out there that will provide some additional insight, but might not actually be the folks who this is their neighborhood park. But that could just be me. I could get some additional direction or insights there, but I want to make sure that folks realize that this is not going to be while it will be a destination, it is not one of our major community parks or regional parks.
And maybe I could just pick up on that as well, just in terms of the public process is our first meeting with neighbors and people that are interested about the park will be sharing 2 or 3 different concept options. So we're not going to go and meet with everyone with saying, okay, this is the plan. We'll have some different options that might show a different amounts of paths as you walk through the park, or different locations for a play area. One option might have a fenced off leash area, and another option may not. So I think what we want to do is we want to share some ideas with everyone, get feedback, and then, as Kate mentioned, it will then be another process that we go through. And sharing these ideas with you all as well is ultimately synthesizing all of those ideas and feedback into a single plan.
And additionally, over the last year or so, our staff have contact with neighbors and community members who have called in about questions or comments or concerns about the park. And they are very well integrated with one another. And so they know that they're on the list. They're going to get a personal phone call from me saying, hey, please help mobilize your neighbors and your friends and come on out to this. So we will be having some direct conversations with community members who have expressed deep interest in the future of this park.
So can Catherine remove take the screen down so then we can
Oh,
see
sure.
if anybody's wanting to weigh in on it? I have a few thoughts since I have 3 little grandkids, so they love parks. And they're young, from 7 years to 8 months old. So so what looking at it for this area, and I have lived in close to this park my whole life. So, I was originally raised on Columbus Street. So actually when all that was farmland, but something to use year round, I do think there's a dog park that is still in demand. Because we have timberlands, but our community has grown, and there's really nothing on this side of the South Albany area that can be, to be able to have for a dog park area. So that's one thing I could see neat as a need and being used a lot. Plus, it's a year-round type, amenity. But a play structure with nice playground, what's being done at Meadow Ridge, but having it be kind of covered so then it stays more dry and could be utilized year round. As we know, we get very wet in the winter time, so then the play structures aren't used as much. But if they had a cover over them, then they would be able to be used. And there's a lot of families, a lot of kids in this section of town, and there's not that many parks. And for a big playground, actually, if you think about it, south of Queen on down. So I think it'd be really used. And I see a lot of time on Facebook, people will ask, where's their place, like parks, to be able to have birthday parties, places like that. And I know 2 of my grandkids have used Sunrise Park because they love that playground for a birthday party, but it's not covered and it gets hot there if it's summertime. So kind of having a covered play structure, I think, would be great also. But that's kind of my 2 things that I could see would be kind of a demand in the community. But anyone else have any thoughts?
This is Jill.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily have thoughts, but I do know that the people in Eugene love going to, there's a park, I think it's called Amazon Park, because they have huge rhodie bushes there. And I'm wondering if maybe there wouldn't be a place in some park in Albany where we could kind of build up just a flower garden for those people who love walking through the flowers. And I know that's kind of off topic, but it is something that I've heard other people mention. Why don't we have a place like that? So I'll just throw it in.
I like that idea. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Something then with little meandering paths through it and have like a little garden area. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there are a lot of people who literally make it a family event every year to go to that particular rhododendron garden, and they take pictures of their kids as they're growing up, all kinds of things like
yeah. So Bill or Anna, Aaron, Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, the rhododendron would be a good idea but there'd have to be plenty of shade for the roadies to survive the summer heat. I like the hiking or the walking trails or jogging trail around the park. I think a lot of people like finding places where they could, run laps or walk laps and maybe have, distance meters on that, a quarter mile or half mile, or whatever it is that you're doing on. I think that would be a good idea.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I always appreciate.
Anna?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I appreciate being able to walk around a park where the kids are playing, so I can get some exercise while they play. But I agree with you about the dog park. I think we could use another dog park in Albany. So having an off-leash area that's fenced in is a good idea.
Okay. And did Aaron? Or is there two? Is Aaron on two screens? I think I saw a phone number and Aaron screen. So.
I just moved to my computer.
Oh, okay. Did you have any
Sorry.
thoughts?
No, actually, all your ideas. I really like the idea of having like an exercise. I know an ability like different. If there's a path around, also having like spaces for people to do certain exercises, certain. I can't remember what the stations essentially to do something. The park's big enough. It's to be able to do something like that. And I know that's something. Definitely a dog park, another dog park, because the amount of dogs that are out on leash on. Even at Timberland, not in the area that they're supposed to be, or even in other parks, just having something for people to take their dogs to. And I really love the idea of a covered something, even if it's partially covered playground, because during, this time of year, we've got people that have kids that are cooped up that need to get some energy out, so having a place for them to go would be ideal too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Did I get everybody help? Marilyn, what is your thoughts? You use that park a lot over the years.
I do. I walk by it with my dog every other day, year round. I don't want to be the 800-pound gorilla, but I'll just be the neighbor who uses the park here. I like the open space that's already there, and clearly other people do too, because I'm not the off-leash dog person. It's too close to a street for me to let my dog run wild, but other people do because their dogs are better behaved. And so a dog park is a really nice idea. It's a long way to go to Timberland, but to be able to walk over there and just let her loose would be great. I also like the idea of a walking, jogging path around the perimeter or meandering through the park. The exercise stations is something that we have tried in the past, and it may have come into its time by now. I think it might have been a little too early 30 years ago when it was tried before. Great idea, wrong timing. The thing that I always think about when I go by the park, besides the convenience of 2 dog bag stations, is those beautiful Lebanon cedars on the Del Rio side. That's a landmark in the neighborhood, and that might be a good place to put rhododendrons. I don't know, but those trees are just so majestic and so beautiful. It's really welcoming to people. I'd like to see that remain, if possible, as a focal point. And I know I hope we can bring the neighbors around to realize what a wonderful place this could be, how much potential it has, and how much nicer an already nice neighborhood will be with a park that matches. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
thanks,
bet.
thanks, Marilyn. I have
Thank
some
you, Marilyn.
follow-up. I actually have a follow-up question for Marilyn, if I may. I think one thing we didn't mention is that usually with a park project, we have to take a look at any sort of improvements within the right of way. And so more than likely, we'll be putting some sort of pathway next to the street. like a sidewalk that will be integrated into the park. And I saw today there were a couple people playing on the basketball court. It was really kind of cool because it was a mother and son playing, and the son was like in his
Adult
20s.
son.
Yeah. And so it was great to see that. And Marilyn, I guess, do you see that that basketball court being used a lot?
Not at 6:30 in the morning when I'm out walking the dog, but I do see it later in the day. And
Uh-huh.
I know I try to encourage people in the neighborhood, my neighborhood and other ones. I try to remind them that there are basketball courts there and at
Mhm.
Pineway Park, and they don't have to have basketball hoops blocking the sidewalks in front of their homes.
Mhm.
So the more developed that park is, the more people are likely to go there. I'm glad to hear that people are using that, because I was just thinking about that yesterday when I walked by.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was great to see today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Quick question on that. Since there's an existing basketball court, and I believe we want to keep that, would there be a way to integrate, make it multi-use basketball court, like a basketball futsal court, especially since futsal is growing so much that, to be able to do it multi-purpose, so there's not just one purpose for it, even if it's basketball and something else. I don't know, what other sport uses that size of field. I'm not off the top of my head, but if there's something we can integrate to where it's multi-use rather than just single use.
Mhm.
Great idea.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that as part of the master plan effort in doing these different kind of concepts, one plan might keep the basketball court exactly where it is and the play area where it is. But another plan might say, okay, well, the play area is maybe a little bit too close to the street. So what would happen if we moved it into the park maybe a little bit more? Still, you could kind of see it. And the same thing with the sport court. Maybe we're moving it slightly more away from the play area and enlarging it to make it a futsal court, because you already have some paving there. So if you're able to restripe it and make it even more of an amenity, that seems like that would be a good idea. So yeah, that was something we were actually talking about on site today, was futsal as well.
Okay. Any other
I have
suggestions? Yeah,
one
Bill?
question for you
Or
all.
no?
I'll go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe, I don't know, the expense of it would be, I noticed walking by some of the parks locally, I don't know if a tennis court could be added, or if that'd be too cost prohibitive next to the basketball court.
I've always wanted Albany to have a covered tennis courts.
Mhm.
We've
Yeah.
never had that. High schools don't even have that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and as somebody who played for tennis for South Albany many, many years ago, and my daughter, it's like there still is no covered tennis courts.
There are covered tennis courts out here at the tennis club in
The
West Albany.
tennis club. Yeah, that's
Albany
it. But
plays-
but
Yeah,
yeah,
West Albany plays their home games here.
right, yeah, but not at any of the public parks.
Right,
We
yeah.
don't have it, but yeah, no, just the shelter cover over the top, but yeah, so, or the pickleball's real popular now too.
Yes.
So yeah.
I'll step in on that one and say that I think the amount of money that we invested at LBCC and how popular the sport is, and the noise complaints that other communities have received, I'm going to ask for no pickleball on site at Deerfield Park.
I would
So
second that.
is it getting utilized a lot out at the LBCC ones? So, oh, good. And they're not at Hackelman
Oh,
much
Hackelman,
anymore?
there's quite a few folks who want us to redo Hackelman as well. So we are going to get it
Okay.
resurfaced this summer
Okay.
is the goal. So I feel like while there could always be more, the amount of money that we have invested into pickleball, I would like to see us look at some other opportunities.
Yeah. It's true.
The
Yeah,
noise
covered
alone,
play structure for the kids.
noise alone on pickleball, I could do without.
Yeah. Okay,
So
Catherine
I,
and Kurt, was that enough, or did you have questions, or anybody else have comments?
I did have a question about the sports fields.
Huh?
So according to the ADA assessment that's underway, we would need to upgrade, if we're going to keep the sports fields, we would need to upgrade the pathway system to the backstops. So I think there's a question if what do you feel if should we keep the sports fields with the backstops, or should we eliminate the backstops and just have open fields that could be used for a number of different number of different ways?
So you mentioned
I
there's
feel Aaron's kind of the expertise on the sports stuff. So let him
Well,
answer.
you mentioned there wasn't any parking there, so having sports fields there, like a designated baseball, is going to make it to where people trying to come and park there is going to be difficult, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I would rather see it as an open field. I know we have other baseball fields in the community that are being used and utilized. I also think, if we wanted to make baseball fields at all for Little League, Timber Lane has more of a feel for it than I think this community park would.
Mhm.
And that's just
Thank you.
my 2 cents.
Yeah, thank you. No, we value you since you're the one that's really more into the sports. So
Mhm.
appreciate that. Okay, any other questions? Anything else on
No,
this item?
I think I'll
Yeah.
I'll pick up on what Kim was saying, is that we're really excited about applying for a grant through state parks, the local government grant. So the idea is that we're going to when we come to a point where we have a master plan, we'll take that master plan. We have to include a lot of writing that supports why we want to ask for the money that we are. We're also going to be trying to get letters of support too. So having a letter of support from this commission is actually really important. So just be prepared that at some point we'll come back to you and share the designs and your input, and then both have a letter of support from you, but then we'll probably go out to neighbors as well and elected elected citizens to really, I think, create a winning proposal for the grant.
That'd be great. Yep, you bet. So yeah, let us know what we can do to help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Kim, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you so much, Catherine and Kurt. We really appreciate you
right.
all. And
Yeah.
we'll talk to you
Yeah.
some more
Okay.
tomorrow via email.
Okay.
Great.
All
Nice
right.
to meet you
It
all.
was
Thank
nice
you.
meeting you all.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Marilyn, for
Bye.
tuning in as well.
Bye.
Thank you. You can stay on, Marilyn. Okay. All right. Next item then is general tree issues. Rick.
Yeah, just a few things. I wanted to first, since they're gone now to their backs, Kurt and Catherine have been wonderful. We actually met them because they did a park in Oregon City, a block from my grandkids' house. And we liked what we saw and brought them down, and they helped us with Henderson. And then if you haven't been to Meadow Ridge, Anna, we set that up so you could walk around it while kids are playing on the playground. But they did a wonderful job on that. And we've just been really, really happy with what they have to offer, and the questions they ask and all of that are really good. So we're looking forward to that. And they worked with us on Lehigh some too, I believe, didn't they, Kim? Yeah. So, but I mean, my part now is to talk about tree issues. Just 3 things I want to mention. And one is right now, what we're working on is planting and pruning. We've almost got our planting done. Pete Shelby and Bob Grady have done a great job getting our winter planting done, which is when we remove stuff through the year and that we keep track of it. Jay keeps track of all of that. And they're doing really well getting that in. We're almost going to we're headed real soon to some park planting. And then we do a lot of tree pruning this time of year because it's the right time of year, and the rest of our crew has been on that. We're slowed down a little bit on the changes in the code. I know he was working with Bill on some of that, or Jay was working with Bill on some of that. Jay's got some family things that are slowing him down a little bit, and so that's still in the works. He talked to him about it recently, so we're working on that. And then I'm going to steal just a little bit of Kim's thunder, I think. We had the opportunity. This last ice storm, we lucked out. I spent 2 days just waiting to get the call, and we never got it because we got hail instead, or we got sleet instead of freezing rain. Springfield got freezing rain, and their parks are in a miserable shape. Just trees broken everywhere. City council agreed to let us send a crew down 1 day a week for the next month or two and to help them out. And it's been really good for our crew to be able to go down and help. And it's been really good for them at Willamette Lane in Springfield. And it's also a good relationship. Both you learn things that the others do, and also there might come a time when we get the ice and they don't. So I'm sorry if I stole Kim's thunder on that, but it's a really good thing for everybody involved. We have pulled 7 full 15-yard chip trucks full of chips out of there, which is a lot of chips if you think about it that way. So anyway, that's what I have on forestry, or tree issues, unless anybody has any questions.
I do, and I don't know if Bill has seen this, but Bill, you might want to drive down Gary Street and see how much of the trimming has been done from the power company. If you go just south of 14th, I think it's Heritage Apartments, and all of those big fir trees, they just did it, I think it was yesterday, day before, and they just trimmed along the power lines and absolutely butchered those trees. Those trees are not going to make it. You know, Rick, what can we do to be more proactive to prevent that? Or what can we be able to do now reactive that's going to either encourage those trees to be replanted or something? But have you seen them, Rick, or anybody else?
I haven't seen those particular ones. Wright Tree Service is the contractor for Pacific Power. They're doing it. The power companies have the right to trim back from their lines. The things that proactively we can do, it's a lot about what you plant in those right of ways. And I would say that now Jay does a really good job of not planting trees that are going to get in the way in 30 years. We've also, another thing that Jay's done a really good job of that I was never really able to take the time to do, was he's built relationships with the people that are doing the work, and they have been really good about, this is their job, this is what they have to do, but when they take trees out, they've been giving us a voucher to replace them, and some of that. It's one of those unavoidable, and particularly power companies are going to be careful because of some of the issues they ran into with fires a few years ago.
Right.
So it's,
So, Rick,
you don't want them to do it, but you don't really have there's not a lot of choice. Yeah,
so
Jill?
can I add something to what Sharon says? I live just off of Waverly, and today they took down a tree at the corner of Waverly and Gary. Now, do they have to have a permit for that? Are they going to replace that? What do we know about when they just take out a whole tree? Because this was not a young tree.
They are providing us compensation in the form of vouchers that buy trees to replace, and they're checking with Jay whenever they do that. One of the things, I spent several years as the city forester, and I so much love just being the city forester supervisor now, because he takes care of all that day to day. So where I could have told you that a year ago, Jay's got it under control, but they do compensate for that sort of thing. And sometimes when he allows them to go and I think possibly that one, I kind of remember a conversation. Sometimes they get to looking at the trees and start fiddling with them, and they go, oh, this tree is not in good shape. And I think that might, although I'm not totally familiar, it seems like I had a conversation with Jay about that particular one. So
So does that mean that
Typically, they don't take one out if they don't have to, but sometimes it makes sense.
does that mean that if they go in there and they don't have to have permission from the city to change their mind and take out a tree?
They have to, they have the right to take them out, but they are good about checking in with Jay and making sure that he agrees. And otherwise they just cut, they cut them back, which is ugly, the ugliness factor there too. So um he's aware of what they do. And like I said, he's built a really good relationship with Pacific Power and with the tree cutting company. He's been a real blessing. I'll talk about him when he's not here, but he's been a real blessing to us.
Well, I mean, but some of these trees, you can tell they're not going to survive long term. There was also, it was probably a couple weeks ago, but Wright Tree Service then right across from Burkhart Park did all the trimming. And Albany Partnerships offices, they were on the corner and they just kind of butchered a beautiful flowering cherry. But just to the west of the property, so it's probably around 1930 address. There's an elderly lady that lives there and had a beautiful cedar tree, huge. They just cut that thing on the one side all the way up, and it's like this. If I don't know if that tree is going to survive, but here they kind of damaged the tree that could probably live for many more years, and then I could see her being subjected to have to take it out. So I'm just kind of concerned on some of their trimmings when it comes to in the city. To me they're damaging trees, but it's also awful ugly what they're doing to them. So I don't know if anybody else has concerns about them, but I do. I mean, Bill's kind of our tree guy there. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, it's hard to look at, but I can understand that they have the right of way, and it's too bad. 40 years ago they planted a tree that's going to grow 80 feet tall next to a power line, but I know it's hard.
No.
Yeah, and that's
It is.
Bill's got it. So he's right on in that. If we can make good choices now in what we do in urban forestry, people in 30 years won't be going. In fact, I've always thought that and Jay and I talk about that. I've always thought about that. It wasn't in my watch. I don't want somebody 30 years from now coming down to the nursing home and beating up on me because of something we did. But
Right.
Bill is absolutely right. We do a lot. We know a lot more and do a lot better. And yeah, some of them are going to be ugly. Typically, they don't do anything that's going to kill the tree, or that would say we would take it down. And again, I'm not defending the practice. It's just other than the fact that it has to do if you want your electrical grid to work, you got to protect those lines, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if I appreciate if you just next time you're down, Gary, look at those trees and see what you think. Maybe I'm way off base here, but it's like,
No, I'll run by there.
they really got butchered.
I had a question about the trees on Ferry Street that's been removed. Are they going to be I know they pulled up the sidewalks and stuff. Are they going to be replaced?
Are you talking down by water, or you talking farther
Yeah,
up?
water, and then there's one by the shoe store. There were two like Second and Ferry, and then there was one by Water and Ferry. I think there's 4 trees removed.
Water and Ferry, those trees were causing a lot of problems, and that's the Riverfront project is going to do something different there. So there will be trees there, but we got those out for now. Farther up on Ferry, I'd have to ask ask Jay. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I think there are 2 maple trees that are kind of pushing up, and you can see the stumps out there if you walk by them. But they're right next to the shoe shop, shoe store.
Yep.
I think they're taking out.
The goal is, the goal is not to take anything out, but sometimes you have to. Citizen safety, the things some of those trees do to sidewalks, and again, part of what we've done and part of working with the tree commission and this group now has been to try not to cause those problems in the future.
Right. Yeah, I just want to know if they're gonna replant some of the areas that've been opened.
Typically,
had to-
typically if we can, we do
Okay,
replant. Sometimes you just can't, but typically we do.
okay.
Rick, can I ask you a question? I'm going back to this tree on Waverly and Gary. When you say that they compensate you, does that mean that they will be putting something back in that area, or are you just throwing it into the tree fund for whatever you need?
No, they compensate us and we try to put things back in the same spot. Sometimes utilities cause us problems. Sometimes we don't want to cause the same problem again. So it's very subjective, but the goal is to put something back in the same spot or close to it. Sometimes you just can't.
But it,
Sometimes you have to move them a little bit because there's utilities or water meters or who knows what.
or you could just put smaller trees, fruit trees or something that will never get up to the height of that.
Yeah. Yeah, we do, but sometimes there's other things in the ground that are a concern. There's places downtown where the gas line is, I shouldn't even say this probably. No, it's fine. The gas line is supposed to be something like 3 feet down. We found the gas line a lot in some of the older sections, a lot like a shovel's width down. So you just have to, there's certain areas you can't, you have to be careful.
Wow. That's scary. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's not that scary, but that's why you call before you dig.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any questions of Rick over trees? Well, thank you, Rick, for the update. That's great.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, next item is Kim suggested that we skip this item because we were lacking 2 board members. And hopefully the next meeting, those positions will be fulfilled. Is that okay? Or did anybody want to is that okay with everyone to just skip it till next month?
Do we need to take a vote on that, or can we just say yes or no or whatever?
Just yes to skip it? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Thumbs up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, are we for sure going to have those positions filled by the next meeting?
That is the hope.
That's
So-
not sure.
Yeah.
That's the hope. I think if we probably fill one position, we might be able to move forward with doing elections, just because we've had one vacancy on other commissions for a long time. But with 2, it just feels like maybe we should hold off, but it doesn't stop you from dreaming and thinking about if you want to become that chair or vice chair.
No. I mean, the question is if we're going to keep pushing this down the road, because we can't get somebody. So why continue pushing it, right? What wards are they? Do we know?
Sorry, I should have done that before I muted. We have one in Ward 1 appointed by the mayor, and one in Ward 3. We actually had one person get appointed, but as soon as they accepted it, they had a job change. It said they had to go out of state, so it was a quick turnaround. So I'm hopeful. I know that there are applications in the hopper and that there are applicants. It's just a matter of having them be selected and go towards council.
In those 2 wards, we usually have enough volunteers. I mean, Ward 1 usually has enough than that. Yeah. Because, technically speaking, I'm Ward 1, but I'm filling a Ward 2 seat. So that's why I say it's good. I think we'll be, I'm more confident now. No, what ward.
Yep. And then Jill, do you have anybody that is your volunteers with the graffiti or that are wanting to be involved or adopt the park?
Well, that's a consideration because all of those people are putting their money where their mouth is. That they show up on the rainy days to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. Let me think about it. And so what you're telling me is that there is a position open, and anybody who would be interested should get a hold of Kim.
Oh,
Or did you say they already have enough applicants?
they already have quite a few applicants, I believe, at this point. It's
Okay.
just a matter of making the selection.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So then we should be covered for next month. Okay. Next is reports and updates. And Kim, capital projects update.
Sure. So Yeah, we've got a lot of action going on. So if you take a look at our capital projects report, Meadow Ridge Park development, I am happy to say we are completed essentially for the most part. There's a little bit of electrical and a sign that needs to go in, but otherwise all of the major heavy lifting is done. You'll get a reminder, well, you'll get notice about this as we get a little bit further down, but we're going to do a celebration out there, a little informal one on Friday, April 12th. It's a no school day. We're not going to broadcast it far and wide because we all know it's a 1.8 acre park and there's only so many swings and things that are there. And it's, on a regular Saturday afternoon, we've already counted 30 kids using that space. So, but we would love for you all to come and hopefully some of the neighborhood kids as well. So April 12th, you'll get more information as we come closer. Timberland soccer fields. So we actually would like to hear your thoughts on this. So this has been a labor of love for many, many years and a great partnership with AYSO. AYSO has put over $100,000 into the first 2 phases to get them flattened and irrigated. When they said, hey, we've done a lot of heavy lifting, we don't know if we're going to be able to rally the troops for phase 3, we said, you know what, we think we can step in with a little bit of money. So we set aside $90,000 and we thought that was going to be enough, especially because we own about $15,000 worth of parts already to go towards the irrigation. We went out for a bid. They came back yesterday and the lowest bid was $197,000 and the highest was over $400,000.
Oh my God.
Wow, little off.
Is that that's inflation?
No, no. What was the bid for installing it?
Rick, I'll let you chime in on the.
It was for finishing the 3rd phase. So it was grading, putting a little bit of drainage in and installing the irrigation. And I feel like the bids were extremely outrageous, a couple of them particularly.
Yeah.
So I'm not real sure. We very comfortably felt like we could do it for 90,000, but we're not even close.
Yeah, to me, knowing what that last third is, I mean, it's that French drain that doesn't work. I mean, because of the way the grading is right now. The install of the irrigation, it's like it isn't only 3 acres of the 50. I mean, you're talking, it was 100,000 or 50,000 to 100,000 of 5 acres. So it shouldn't be any more than that,
Yes.
and most of that was the piping. Or some
I
of the
totally agree with you, Aaron. That's why I cringe.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna
Mhm.
those are some stupid quotes.
So with that in mind, we haven't had this conversation with AYSO yet, because we wanted to chat with you all, and obviously it's still fresh. It's still a fresh burn for us as we just opened them yesterday, but we don't have $190,000 to put aside for this project, and so it might be one of those ones where it gets put on the back burner until the construction climate changes and maybe we're able to go out for bid again. I mean, the package is already done. We can go out for bid again and see if we can get some more competitive numbers. We can chat with AYSO to see if there's any magic we can work up that way. It's
conversation with AYSO because there are people out here, and we live in farm country, right? And that's how we got the first grading pretty much. I mean, a lot of the work was done by farmers. I mean, they came up and did the plowing the first time. There's no reason why a farmer can't come up and plow, volunteer work. I mean, there's a lot of farmers that are involved with AYSO. There's a lot of people who will come out and help do it. The other part of it is that, I mean, there's a lot of people that have contacts with AYSO within the plumbing or within that irrigation system too. I mean, I would seriously have a conversation with AYSO and let them send out to their members to say, hey, here's what we're up against. Here's this, and flat out tell them the quotes that you got, because they're not, those are just so out of whack that they've left me speechless on how crazy that is.
And so that might be something, though, that AYSO could work with the Parks and Recreation Foundation. There might be some additional incentives there that haven't been worked. So we'll circle back. But unfortunately, that one is not great news. And when I say not great news, I mean it's bad news. So we're thankful for our partners who bid on them. It's always great when we get bids, but it just kind of shows kind of what the environment is right now with work. And with bidding for a municipality is also difficult. Some of the smaller companies, we have too much baggage to make it possible for them. And for some of the bigger companies, we're not spending enough money in order to make it worth their while when they could be doing bigger projects. So we're in this really weird middle ground right now for this, our therapeutic spa. Like we've seen it time and time again over the last 2 years with projects. So
So Kim, you probably already looked into it, but so none of this upcoming project is SDC eligible then? None.
I
Mhm.
wish.
Yeah, so darn.
So that's Timberland. East Thornton Lake, as that'll continue to stay on the back burner until somebody magically hands us a lot of money and we're able to move forward with that one. Henderson Park Playground completed, and then Deerfield Park, like you said, like you all heard already, we're kicking off later this month, and it's going to be great. So we've got about $750,000 set aside for construction of the park through both CIP and just generally us scrimping and saving. Depending on what our costing looks like and what some of the options look like, we chatted roughly today about potentially going out for about $450,000 or $500,000 for the grant. So our hope would be to be around 1.2, 1.25 million, because we spent that much on Meadow Ridge, and that's 1.8 acres. This is 11 acres. It's
Why wouldn't we go for a grant for more? Just ask for. Is it one where they're only going to give you what you ask, or can they give you less?
So you have a matching. It'll be
Okay.
a little bit of it. We have to do a 50% match for a community of our size. We want to make sure that we don't overpromise in case there are cost overruns. And
Okay.
so we haven't really fully thought out the strategy behind it yet, but just kind of off the cuff, that's the number that we all felt kind of comfortable with, and that we thought we could be more competitive with.
Yeah, well, matching grant, that tells you why right there.
So yeah, so that's where we are with our capital project update.
Okay. And next.
It's me again.
Mhm.
So just want to give you a hiring update as we've, for a team of 23 that are in the Parks and Recreation fund, we've had turnover, and we have 3 new faces that have come on. Well, we will have 3 new faces that'll have come on within like the last month. And so one of them is Cole McDowell, who he's been patiently waiting and hanging out here. Cole is our brand new marketing specialist, new position for us. We used to have one back in the day. Matt Harrington was that position, but it's probably been 10, 15 years. Cole, do you want to say anything about yourself?
Yes. Hi. Is my mic working? I think it was my first time talking with these headphones on this computer, so I apologize for being off the camera for most of this. I've got a couple of crazy dogs, one of which is in a cone right now, so I'm dealing with them on the side here. But yeah, my name's Paul McDowell. I'm originally from Southern California, but I've been up here in Oregon for about 6.5 years now, and currently living in Millersburg. So I've been down in this area for about 3.5 years. And yeah, background in digital marketing primarily, but I've done some print media as well. So just looking to bring my experience to the wonderful team that I get to work with here at Parks and Recreation, and promote, all of the wonderful events we do, the courses that we offer, as well as just kind of tell the stories of what Rick and his team are doing, what Jay's doing around the city, and just all those wonderful things, and just kind of highlight some of the fun stuff we're doing.
Great. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thanks, Cole. In addition to that, like Cole, Jill sent us information about a work party that happened for Adopt a Park this weekend. Cole was able to beautifully put that together, so much better than my pictures that I would generally just slap on there. So we're very excited to have him on board. Wish him luck, as he's got a lot of big personalities in our office to juggle as we head into the summer. And so we're delightful. We just get really excited because there's so much going on. So thank you, Cole, very much, and tune off. Go enjoy your evening.
Nice meeting you all. Look forward to talking to you in the future.
In addition to that, I had mentioned that Nicole Markel, who is our wonderful resource development coordinator, is moving on to the next chapter in her life. So we had gone out multiple times for applicants for the position and hadn't really found a sweet spot yet. And this last round, we had some really rock stars that came on board, and it was great to have a hard decision. We've made an offer. It's not official yet because we haven't gotten all the paperwork back, so I can't tell you a name or the background, but hopefully at our next meeting, you'll see a new face sitting here as they're going to come in and hit the ground running. So we're really excited about having that position filled. And Nicole is such an amazing person. She was like, I don't want to do this to our sponsors. I can't stop and start them. So she's extending her work with us a little longer so that way it's not a super clumsy handoff. And then I'm going to steal one from Rick. When Wade retired back in the summer, it was too crazy and you can't really do any hiring in the summer. And so we did the process at the end of the fall and the early winter, and we brought on Edgar. Edgar's been working with us as a temp for about 9 months. He's wonderful, has an amazing attitude. The rest of the crew loves him. So Edgar is officially on the books as well, and we're delighted. And hopefully, we know there's going to be additional transition coming up just because that always happens. It's life, but it feels really good right now to have the faces that we have around the table.
So did Wade retire then? Yeah. So, and then is Nicole retiring also?
She is.
Yeah. Wow.
She's living the life. She's got everybody jealous.
Yeah. Well, you bet. So
does that mean all of the staff positions are filled now?
Well, we have one that we're retooling a little bit that was supposed to do adult programs down at the Riverfront Community Center. We've gone out for that one several times as well and haven't really found a sweet spot there. So we're retooling, and it'll probably be downgraded to a recreation assistant that'll go out in the hopes that we'll be able to grow our own. So
cool. Yeah. No, that's exciting.
It's super exciting.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Kim. And you're next, aren't you?
That's me again. So program updates. I've pretty much done a ton of the talking, so I apologize. Rose isn't able to be here tonight. It's so funny. All of her meetings and activities that she needs to go to on her personal side just end up always being on Wednesday night. So she's sad that she wasn't able to be here, but as always, she left me notes. So, so we're currently administering a grant program that's for free or low cost senior programs. Every quarter, they've had an experience or a class. Over winter break, they did a free recreational swim at ACP for over a week. They had an instructor available with games and water toys. I went out there on the day, I think it was the Thursday before Christmas, and they all had reindeer ears on and they were playing like children in the pool. And it was just amazing to see that like energy and excitement and just like lightness in the world. So and the fact that it was a free low cost program, even better. Next week, they're having an experience for going to the coast for the crab lunch. Next quarter, it'll be flower gardens in Salem and offering a class in a master gardener talk. And then lastly, they'll be offering free line dancing classes and a hike at Silver Falls. So the hope is just to get our seniors more active in mind, body, and spirit. And we're doing all that with a $6,000 grant from the Council of Government. So we're very thankful for that. Currently working on summer programs and booking for performers. Everything's going to kick off on the 4th of July at a brand new park with a brand new stage and all sorts of amenities that we'll get the keys to maybe a week beforehand and have a very short turnaround time to figure it all out. So no pressure, just the start of a 40th anniversary on the 4th of July. So we got it though. Our staff are amazing. So working through all of that. We don't have any announcements to make, but we're excited. We're trying to plug people in. Spring Activate comes out March 4th with open registration. We've got really great classes, so we recommend that you take a look through it, spread the word to family and friends. Hopefully maybe you'll sign up for something yourself. And other than that, that's all I got. Rick, you're the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, so my stress level was doing pretty good until she reminded me that we'll have the keys for about a week before we start concert series, but we're okay. We're preparing now. Just a few updates. Waverly Lake Fountain has been the project that has taken forever. And this one, Kim bailed me on because I just was having a hard time, making it happen with the personalities involved. And Kim can talk to anybody, and she's got that going on, and it should be in March 1st. Is that the deadline right now, Kim? Something like
Parts
that.
have been ordered. The parts should take 2 weeks to get here. I have said by March 1st.
Excellent.
Finally,
Oh, good.
finally that one's happening. Let you know, East Thornton Lake Natural Area. Chuck and crew have been volunteering, working there, doing great. We put, I don't know if I told you last time or not, we put a fence around the historic apple trees, and it's not a keep you out fence, it's a look at it fence. I'd encourage you to go take a look. We're getting them professionally pruned by people that really know how to deal with these kind of old apple
Oh,
trees.
good.
This here in the next couple of weeks. And then we're hoping to do a program and have enough program staff that we've had these wonderful cider presses, and we have apples, and putting it all together in a program. So hopefully, cross your fingers, there'll be a cider squeeze out there somewhere in the fall.
Oh, excellent. Mm-hmm.
We are banging away at ADA stuff in the parks. We have, what is it, 400 and some pages. I think I told you about that before. 400 and some pages of just things that need to be taken care of. And we just kept breaking it down to where we could manage a little at a time. We've done a number of things at the Riverfront Community Center. We're starting to do some things in the parks. We have a big project. We have some grant money that we need to spend this year, doing some of the bigger concrete projects in the parks for ADA. So there's a lot of that going on. I don't know if we mentioned that one of the reasons we're hopeful on a grant for Deerfield is, Kim might have to help me with the numbers. What were the numbers of how much? There's a lot of grant money this year, way more than last.
34 million compared to 14 million that was last year available.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it's more than doubled the amount of money available. And that has to do with something with the lottery, and if they got over a certain amount or something like that. So that, and then another thing that's just one of those things that has helped us in how we operate is the state has had on construction has had a $10,000. If you went over $10,000, if you did 10,001, you had to go over 3 bids and do a whole big process, and that just hasn't worked lately because prices have gone up. And so now
Mm-hmm.
we still do our due diligence, but we don't have to go through a formal process up until $25,000. And so if we were last year, we had to build a little fence, and the fence was about $12,000. And we had to go through a huge process of bids and all of that to build a fence instead of just getting the fence built. So we're fortunate that the state changed that and the city followed along. And there's some other things that help on that. You still want to do your very best and get your best value for the city, but it was just getting a little crazy because sometimes parts could be $10,000 and the labor could be nothing. So. And I think that is plenty from me for now. So unless you have any
So-
questions, I'm going to mute and watch.
Rick, can I ask you a question about Waverly Park and the fountain?
Sure.
When I first heard about it, you said that you thought that there would be you would be able to put different colors in there at different times.
Yeah, that may have been a piece. I don't know, Kim. Can we put different colors on Kim? This has been Kim's big. She likes
I want the colors.
cool
That's
things
my
like
thing.
that. I deal with ditches and
Well,
plumbing and stuff.
Let me tell you where I'm going with this. Lynette and Lincoln Community College is the adopter of Waverly Park. They have people coming out every term to work there. And I haven't actually told them this, but I thought it would be nice if we do the colors, that at some time we could use their colors and kind of pull in a lot more of the students, and I'll get more interest as an acknowledgement that that is their park. It's what they adopted and what they care for.
I am embarrassed to say that I pick the shape of the fountain. But I didn't double check on the colors. So you know what? That'll be another conversation I have tomorrow. But if it's if it's in our discretionary budget, I'm totally going for it because I'm right there with you.
So you don't see any conflict. I mean, we don't have any other community colleges right here.
Oh, I
Um,
would say all the time wouldn't be able to be their colors, but we could
Right.
definitely highlight it throughout. I'm expecting Christmas colors, 4th of July, Valentine's Day, good Ducks first, Beavers rivalry out there. Heck,
I think that would really make them feel like it was their park and
Value.
all their work they're doing out there is appreciated.
I think it would be
Kim
beautiful to have
has-
some blue and yellow out
Kim
there.
has demanded that she have the control of
Yes.
the lights if we do lights, so it'll be green and yellow.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I love it. So, okay, any other questions of Rick? Okay. Any other program updates, Kim? Oh, poor thing. She's you can tell that cold is really coming on strong, hit you like a bullet. Okay, next business from the commission. So Anna, do you have anything? No? Okay, Bill.
Nope.
All right, Aaron. Okay, Jill.
I've covered it.
Okay. Only thing I do is thinking spring's coming up. You talk about Waverly Lake, and Rick, I need to probably connect with you if I can come out and see what the duck looks like. So I remember you saying that it probably was going to need some repairs. And then if we can kind of connect and see what we can do to be able to make that happen. Does that sound okay?
It's a great time to think about that. Yeah, it's been
Okay.
covered up all winter and I really haven't thought about it, but you're right.
Okay, I will put that on my list so I can do. You have it out in the operations building? Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay. If not, then our next meeting would be next month on March 6th. And with that, we are adjourned. Great seeing everyone.
Yeah.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.